Most jobs are fake, the future belongs to the NEET. The reality is that most jobs are fake and should not exist. People often talk about useless degrees, but they rarely talk about useless jobs. The pandemic lockdown was a red pill moment for many on this issue. Suddenly, the term non-essential work emerged. Almost unconsciously, we realized that a large number of jobs were not actually necessary. Most of them were office jobs that require a college degree. Jobs nowadays often consists of irrelevant tasks such as sending emails, attending pointless meetings, or sitting through PowerPoint presentations that accomplish nothing. Even when the work itself makes some sense, we quickly realize that it could be done far more efficiently by a computer, an algorithm, or by AI. I personally realized this when I left university and was still blue-pilled. I joined an office as an intern, and my job consisted of filing client records physically. I printed paper and stacked folders in wooden shelves. I had to gather documentation, much of which was completely useless, some of it required only for regulatory reasons. What shocked me most was that my job could have been done easily on a computer. Everything could have been digitized, saving time, money, and paper, without the need for interns doing meaningless work. In the end, you simply go along with it and do what you are told. There are lots of job titles full of buzzwords like strategist. Anything with strategist in the title is always useless. Marketing strategist, branding strategist, and so on. The same goes for consultants, business consultants, management consultants. All consultant jobs are useless unless they are doing software of something technical. Another job many people consider useless is academic work. Almost all of it contributes nothing to society, with the exception of STEM departments, and even there, many would argue that much of the work is pointless. Endless meetings, papers that nobody reads, conferences, talks, and administrative overhead. Even pure mathematics is often considered the most useless science, since solving extremely abstract problems has no direct impact on society. But not just white-collar jobs are useless, some blue-collar jobs are BS jobs too. A common example is security guards. The reason these jobs are often useless is that guards have no real authority, they are not law enforcement. If something goes wrong, they simply call the police, something anyone can do. Night guards, in particular, exist only to trigger alarms or call the police, a role that could easily be automated. Some may argue that the entertainment industry like movies, music, sports is also a fake job. This is false. Entertainment fulfills a real human need, distraction, leisure, keeping the mind busy. Life would be very different without movies and music. The same applies to sports like soccer or basketball. Without entertainment, life would become boring. We will feel like inside a prison. We are surrounded by lots of useless jobs that produce no tangible value whatsoever, yet society still treats them as legitimate work and big boy work. Ironically, the very same people holding these wagie jobs often claim that creating YouTube videos, streaming, or being a gamer is not real work, telling others to get a real job. Mainstream economists, however, tend to ignore the existence of fake jobs because they cling to the idea that firms are always productive and efficient, or at least aspire to be. This is complete nonsense, and here is why. Anyone who has ever had a job knows that companies tend to be inefficient, especially large corporations filled with heavy, useless bureaucracies that exist for decorative or political reasons rather than efficiency. But this is nothing new as people may think, it goes back to pre-industrial times. For example, in the Middle Ages, work was real and produced tangible value: food, construction, defense. Historical evidence shows that peasants worked only a few hours a day because they did not need to work more, they produced only what was necessary. Unlike today, when technological productivity allows us to work fewer hours, we are still required to kill time by burning work hours. Even in the Middle Ages, however, there were useless jobs too. They were created purely for the vanity of nobles, such as courtiers and an excess of servants, although it is worth noting that these were not the majority of jobs. So most importantly, how do we distinguish a fake job from a real one? A fake job is a job whose necessity is unclear. To determine this, ask yourself one simple question: what would happen if my job suddenly disappeared? If the answer is vague or requires a wall of text, then you probably have a BS job. The test is simple. If doctors disappeared, people would get sick and die. If construction workers disappeared, no houses would be built and infrastructure would rot. Beyond the lockdown, another red pill moment for many was the rise of Silicon Valley companies like Facebook in the early 2000s. Their work culture was the opposite of normie corporate culture. They didn't have massive office buildings full of wagies in cubicles. They had no bureaucracy, no useless policies, no suits and ties, only engineers and programmers doing real work. They focused exclusively on what was essential, and it worked perfectly well. But over time they became bureaucratized and betrayed those ideals. So, why do fake jobs exist in the first place? One reason is that we pay by hour instead of efficiency. Paying for efficiency is harder to measure, and it creates conflict between wages and management. Efficient wages look ambitious and threaten middle managers who want to protect their positions, so efficiency is often viewed with suspicion by these managers and other wages. Moreover, labor laws and unions have structured work around time spent rather than efficiency, encouraging people to kill time instead of increasing productivity. However, this alone does not explain why fake jobs exist even without government intervention. While it is true that government-heavy sectors are especially prone to fake jobs, the private sector, where there's market competition, often has even more of them. Libertarians and right-wing conservatives believe that businesses are always efficient, but cannot explain why big corporations burn money on useless woke jobs like diversity departments that produce nothing of value, even when nobody forces them to have these woke jobs. The explanation I propose is what I call the signaling theory. When startups begin, they focus only on essential functions, the only real jobs. Take Facebook again, for example. Initially, the only real work was app development, user acquisition, and securing advertisers. As the company grows, it seeks larger investors and corporate clients. To appear credible and serious, it moves into expensive real estate, renting large, luxurious offices. Empty offices look bad, so they must be filled with lots of wages. This is where BS jobs start to emerge, typically in HR, marketing, and branding, and other email jobs that achieve nothing. This is why, during the pandemic, people were baffled by why companies paid for expensive offices when employees could work from home without any loss in productivity. The answer is prestige. Office buildings in prime real estate signal profitability. This is true especially in corporate finance. A hedge fund operating from a cheap, smelly office would be seen as a Ponzi scheme or a broke company that is not actually good at making money for investors. The same logic applies to corporate clients. Large advertisers like in Facebook want to work with serious companies that will not damage their brand image. The easiest and most lazy way to appear serious is to maintain a massive, useless bureaucracy filled with policies, buzzwords, and PR jobs that accomplish nothing and are purely decorative. There is also the phenomenon of adult daycare jobs. This became visible through TikTok videos showing a day at work, usually done by young women in their early 20s. In the videos, no actual work was shown. Only snacks, coffee, massages, and terraces. The most productive part of their day was sending emails, attending conferences, and meetings. This kind of lazy fake workers are what I call ornamental wages. Unlike background NPC wages who exist only to fill office space, ornamental wages interact directly with clients and investors. They attend meetings, exchange meaningless emails, and travel to conferences. They are ceremonial figures, almost like modern European monarchies. This explains recent mass layoffs in tech. Who got fired? These same ornamental wages, and also lots of other useless NPC wages. And ironically, these people often earned more than blue-collar workers who perform real, tangible jobs that don't require a college degree. Another important point to note is the advancement of artificial intelligence and its impact on both useful and useless jobs. Mainstream, normie economists argue that technology does not destroy jobs permanently but merely replaces them through creative destruction. This is not true. Mainstream economists don't recognize the existence of fake useless jobs. While it is true that technology has created new industries, the explosion of fake jobs is strong evidence that most real work has already been made obsolete. Almost the entire agricultural sector has been replaced by machines. Only a handful of essential jobs remain: medicine, food production, construction, and even these will soon be automated through robotics and AI. One thing to notice is that the political right dismisses this issue by blaming government intervention. This argument falls apart when we see that many BS jobs, such as HR and woke departments, are created voluntarily by private companies. Others invoke subjective value theory, claiming these jobs provide value because value is subjective. But this is a weak and lazy argument. Ironically, it is the political left that has addressed the issue of fake jobs, proposing universal basic income and the advancement of a post-work economy. A post-work economy does not mean no work is done, it means that work becomes voluntary. Essential labor will be automated by AI and handled by machines. The post-work economy is based on the idea of a post-scarcity economy, in which essential goods and services become so abundant and easy to obtain that they effectively become free, or so inexpensive that they can be fully subsidized by the state. This is possible due to the full robotization of the entire economy. But others on the left oppose AI and seek to regulate it to protect jobs. These people are usually following mainstream economics and think that all jobs are useful. They fail to realize that AI primarily destroys useless jobs like the ones involving emails, policies, and paperwork. They also mention creative jobs, but contrary to popular opinion, these are less threatened because most people value authorship and originality on works of art and creative endeavors. So why do we still have to work, even when most work is pointless? One important factor is the collective slave mentality embedded in wagie mentality. Modern society is built upon a slave work ethic that emerged from the French Revolution, which rejected the leisure culture of aristocrats and nobles. Today, free time is viewed as wasteful and unproductive. This is where wages are wrong. Free time is essential for society and for the functioning of the economy. All the major scientific discoveries emerged precisely because of excess free time. Great scientists such as Newton and Darwin developed their theories because they had lots of free time to think and experiment. Art itself is known to require a surplus of free time. Without free time, there is no art, and not even creative jobs like writing or creating music or movies, ironic as that may sound. Free time is also essential to most of the economy. Leisure is fundamental. Without it, no one would go to restaurants, watch movies, play video games, use internet platforms, or even do grocery shopping. Free time is necessary to do all of this. But wages underestimate free time. To them, free time has no value. The wagie has been domesticated by society and by their bosses to work the wagie routine. Society convinces them that they are doing something productive and contributing to society, something that makes them feel important and helps them cope with being replaceable as NPCs with boring lives. Another factor is the belief that if no one works, nothing productive will get done. This is also incorrect. In a post-work economy, people can still work but voluntarily. Opponents of UBI argue that it would make people lazy and unproductive, like zoo animals that exist only to eat, gain fat, and remain in captivity. This is wrong. People already engage in productive activities not for money, but for other incentives such as status and recognition. The clearest example is the Wikipedia, where contributors are unpaid volunteers motivated largely by reputation and internet points. Other examples are contributors of GitHub, Stack Overflow, video game modding, and so on. The reality is that we are moving toward a post-work economy. Even jobs we once believed machines could never replace are now being automated, such as self-driving cars and even the creation of music. For millennia, from the dawn of civilization until the modern era with the invention of automobiles, horses were an essential economic good. Without horses, nothing functioned. They were vital for logistics, transportation, agriculture, and even warfare. Or most of human history, we depended on horses. People in the past would have assumed that horses would always be necessary, based solely on their past experience, yet suddenly, they are not. Humans will follow the same path. Just as the work performed by horses suddenly disappeared, human labor will disappear as well. The NEET will inherit the earth.